this is my first time. This is November 23rd, 2024, and I'm Jeannine Martins, and my company is Resonate Within. My channel is Resonate Within with Jeannine Martins, and I'm an intuitive energy reader. Um, Healer's a little odd for me to say. I mean, that, I don't know about the healer thing. I mean, I'm a guide and I can help people. I don't know so much anymore about like that whole calling myself a healer. Somebody I read recently called themselves that they work with energy medicine, and I was like, that feels good. Like energy medicine, because I'm all about. I'm a shaman. I've been trained in shamanism. I'm sure I've had lifetimes as a shaman, but in this lifetime, I've been trained as a shaman with the Lynn V. Andrews Mystery School. I'm a graduate, 4-year graduate, tons of experience in all of that stuff, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of blahs, but in a good way. But I deal with medicine, energy medicine. And I think the biggest piece for me is healing the heart. Okay, so I'll give you like a little snippet into the mystery school. So in the mystery school, I spent 4 years really healing myself. So everything about the school requires you have a syllabus, and you have homework, and you have assignments. And the depth of your healing is dependent upon the depth of your willingness to go in and look at things, look at your shadows, visit the dark places. I'm a Scorpio sun and moon, and I'm a Pisces rising, so I'm all water pretty much. The rest of my chart, obviously, I have some other signs, but I kind of already was doing some of this stuff before I started the school, because Scorpio is all about the dark places and the towers and the death card and death and rebirth. And so I'm not going to say it was easy. I'm not trying to say it was easy to do the school. It was hard, and I do get emotional talking about it because it was life altering for me. It was life altering. I feel like I finally can own my power, which I wasn't able to do before this. Do I think that school was pivotal and instrumental in changing my life? Absolutely. Hands down, without a doubt, life altering. So much so that I volunteer. I'm a teaching assistant, and I work closely with graduates of the school who continue to serve the mystery school, because the person, Lynn V. Andrews, who opened the school, passed on a few years ago. And so it's been her students who have been trained by her that are now facilitating or acting as administrator. So I am a teaching assistant, and I support the school. I have my own private council, Sacred Teachings of the Whistling Elk Council. And my piece in the whole big scheme of things is my desire to give back for all that I received from the school. So it wasn't my intention to only talk about the school. And maybe it'll morph, but I want to tell you about me. So, sometimes I'll stop talking when I get messages coming in. So messages from source, a divinity. Sometimes I get messages from my guides, my power animal, chakra animals. I get messages from the archangels. I get different messages, and I try to honor that by tapping in and letting the messages come through. But sometimes when the mental mind wants to take over, I have to kind of take a breath, and so I might look off to the side. A lot of times I look to the left and up. That's a sign that I'm hearing something. Or I might even look to the right So I'm not always actively looking at the camera because sometimes I'm getting messages. Most of what I hear and see, intuitively feel, their senses and feelings, their nudges from my guides and those that I'm communicating with, the ascended masters and such. And there's a reason and there's a purpose for what it is that I'm allowing to come through me. I always set my intentions before I do anything only for the best and highest good for myself and others. I'm aware of the dark side. I don't play in the dark side. I stay in the light. So I don't do anything with any of I'll call something out, if we have like fear in our systems or something like that, but I really stay in the light. That's my point, that's my purpose. I'm a light worker. That's what I would call myself. I'm a light worker. A light worker working with energy medicine, So as a trained shaman, we all have tools in our toolkit, and for me, I say my medicine, I always describe it as my medicine. My medicine is, let me also tell you this. I'm all water, I've already said that. I do get very emotional. When spirit runs through me, I'm getting it now, so I'm forewarning you. Sometimes I might cry tears of sadness or anger, but most of the time it's just tears of truth, I call it, like that full connection to source, that feeling of like completely loved and supported, and that the messages coming through are so like beautiful. There's just like this such a love and affection for all of us, and I'm a feeler. I feel things, So sometimes I will cry, and I honor that, and I choose to honor that. I'm not ashamed of my tears. I don't hide them, but I usually forewarn people. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cry, just so they're prepared, because I've caught many people off guard, and not everybody is comfortable with people crying. But it's like, it's always been part of who I am, even when I was little. It used to be a negative thing, like a stigma. I was the crybaby, and now I see it differently. But that's what the healing work can do for you. In the past, it was like such a negative, like, oh, I'm the crybaby. I was told by I'm a trained speech language pathologist, and I've been doing it for 28 years. I've worked with a multitude of populations. The only population I haven't really worked with was infants, but I've worked with birth to 2, maybe 1 years old, and all the way up to the death and dying process. And I've loved every moment of all of it. So I remember being told by when I was graduating, one of my evaluating supervisors, one of her criticisms of me was that I was so upset. She said that, and she was telling me this like as part of my review. I think you could be a good therapist, but you wear your heart on your sleeve. And I think you need to work on that. I was so offended. I was so offended and hurt, and also upset that I was wearing my heart on my sleeve, and that everybody knew it. Everybody knew exactly what I was feeling or whatever, because it was showing on my face, and I carried it for a long time, thinking, I need to fix this. I need to fix this. It needs to be fixed. And it took me a long time to not see me being a crybaby as a bad thing. Like now it's like, I don't care. Somebody could call me a crybaby, but I know my truth. My truth is that's full connection to divinity. And when I feel it, it is the most magical feeling. It is not anything to be ashamed of or to hide or to try to change or fix or correct. Yeah, like I feel like going back to the mystery school, I feel like it gave me a it helped me to find who I am, who I've always been, but maybe it was covered by wounds, you know, like growing up, you know, we all have things that, you know, some of it might be heavy trauma, like real trauma where other people, everybody would say, that's trauma, like shit, that's trauma, that's real trauma. And then some of it could be not so traumatic to other people, and they're like, really? Like you were upset by that? But it all depends how the individual takes it in. So I grew up with some heavy emotional burdens and wounding, and that gets in the way. We become the people that everybody want us to be or expect us to be. We become the stories that everybody has told us about ourselves. You know, like, oh, Jeannine, she's the crier. Oh, she's dramatic. Ugh. You know, like, my mom used to say, oh, she'll laugh at anything. I was always the classic clown, you know, like at home, I'd be the one who would like trip and fall on purpose to make people laugh. Like I became a joke in order to lighten the energies around me. I didn't consciously know that. I was trying to fit in and stay alive. I just wanted to be accepted. And I did whatever it took to be accepted, you know. I also still carry that into adulthood. I would still work with patients, and I kind of like, you know, I'm the jokester, or you know, I know when to feel the energy and add a little levity to a serious scenario, and I also know when to be serious, because I do follow the energy. My hope and my expectation with this channel is I have so many passions. I have like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff that I'm just here to live it all. I'm here to finally live it and love it all. In the past, I would become like very overwhelmed by it. Like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, but then I do nothing, you know, I wouldn't do anything. And now I feel like impassioned. One of my passions is sacred art creation, like creating. Okay, so I use it for various means, and there is definitely like a formality to it, meaning there's always like a ritual or a ceremony with it. So I don't just randomly create things necessarily. I usually have, like, I set my intention and I call in the energies, and then I ask them to work with me, through me. And a lot of times I use this for transmuting emotions. I use it for transmuting like things that are getting in my way, old thoughts, beliefs, ideas, wounds. Like I work with this stuff, and that's my medicine. That's my medicine. So sacred art creation is a medicine that I have, that I like to use. It really resonates with me. And I don't think I have anything right here with me. No, I don't have anything with me right now to show you. But so I've created pieces. I've been like, okay, fear is a big factor. And listen, there's a lot I'm trying to say in a small period of time as an introduction. But I want to keep it simple. So the sacred art creation for me, one piece of it is we all have all these different emotions in us. Some of us have been allowed to express them in our lifetime, freely. Like, fortunately, if you lived in a family where you could just say what you thought and you felt, and you felt safe enough to do it, it's wonderful. That wasn't always how I felt. Now, whether my siblings feel the same way, every individual is individual. You know, one person might see this as traumatic and another person's like, what, that didn't really bother me. I had to hold the space for that to be okay. I'm not the orchestrator of everything in my family. I can just speak to what was real for me, how I took it in, what it felt like. So I didn't always feel able to express myself. I felt like it was a very it was a very limited, contained space for sharing emotions. So I knew sadness, I knew anger, I knew some happiness. I knew some happiness because I was outside in nature a lot, so I knew some happiness. As far as defining other emotions, I didn't really have that capability till I was an adult because I didn't ever feel like I was able to express that, to figure it out. And there's a long story about my childhood that, like, it wasn't just my home. It was like I was bullied all through elementary school, and even up until like high school I was bullied. And it all serves a purpose, but like I had no way of really truly expressing myself that felt safe. And so I became a classic chameleon. I'd figure out how to hide and like not call attention to myself so people wouldn't see me, and then I was safe, or I thought I was safe. There were times that I did that, but I got called out. But the point being, like, there were all these emotions that came up in me that I didn't even know how to describe them or what it felt like. Somebody said gratitude, and I was like, what is gratitude? Like, what does that feel like? I didn't even know what that felt like. I didn't know what envy really felt like. Anyways, I couldn't label emotions very well. And so it's taken a long time to kind of recognize that limitation, because it is a limitation. When you're working in the world, or if you're working like I am with the public, especially as a speech pathologist, emotion identification is really important. And so speech therapy, the profession, I worked with many individuals on the spectrum. And so it really helped me to be able to talk to them about emotions, because then it also helped me. Like, I felt like there was this wonderful exchange of like learning and teaching about it. And one of the key points I found in my medicine, my energy medicine, is that we individually need to identify our emotions, especially the emotions that can get in the way. Fear, anger, maybe even like self-doubt, or there might even be hatred. I mean, it's a strong word, but sometimes people really push your buttons and there might be hatred, or sadness, love. I mean, it can be everything. If you want to clear it and cleanse it, and what the whole idea of sacred medicine is, or sacred object creation is, being able to witness outside of you a tangible three-dimensional object that reflects something that's not tangible. Fear is not a tangible, it's not like seen, like you can see it on somebody's face, but the actual emotion. And so sacred object creation is creating this three-dimensional object that reflects your fear. Okay, my fear looks like something. Your fear might look like something totally different. And so a lot of what I do is working with people on creating their own object that represents their fear. And then it's this whole loving process of accepting it, acknowledging it. I wouldn't say desensitizing to it, but like coming to terms with it. Like, it's here to help us. So let's use fear, okay? Fear can save our lives, okay? When you are in a situation that is dangerous, or needs for you to have attention called to something, fear is the most magnificent, wonderful emotion to have, because it can show you, hey, like, you better get out of here. Like, this is dangerous. Fear is your ally, you know? Fear can like really show you like, you better not do that. Like, this is not good. Don't do it. Or fear is like, don't trust that person. Don't trust that person. So fear serves a real purpose. It's such a beautiful emotion when used and accepted in a way that is constructive in your life. Now, if you use fear if fear comes in a different way and you've like relied on fear a lot, it can show up and seem like it's a bad thing. Like, oh, I better get over my fear. And it's like, maybe it's about acknowledging and accepting it for the beautiful things that it does do, and also like surrendering to the stuff like, or putting perspective on the stuff, the way that fear is in your life that isn't serving you. So becoming overly fearful of sharing your thoughts, opinions, and ideas. Okay, so I had a fear of this, you know, a fear of like being seen, because if I was seen, then that means I was at risk of being harmed. That's what my system took it in as. So I had to do a lot of work with like first creating something that represented my fear. And at first it was so scary. It was so scary. This object was so scary. There's so many layers to this. I'm just giving you one layer, honestly. Like, as I'm talking about it, I'm like, wow, I can, in my head, I see the, you know, like those old cartoon flip things, you know, the pages, each one had like a little piece of a picture, and as you flipped it, it created like a story. That's what this feels like. But it was so scary to create it, because when I created it, I put all my fear into it. That's what sacred object creation is. You put all that energy and emotion into it, into this creation of whatever this is. You don't have to have a mental picture of it. You just start creating from the energy, and you get guided, and you get wisdom, and you get like led, and all of the things, all of the emotions that come up while you're creating the sacred object, they're all real. Like the fear of like, oh, this looks terrible. Oh, this is ugly. Oh, people are going to think this is like crap, or they're going to be like, who made this, a kid? Even that calls to surface those emotions, like the fear of like, oh my God, like this is so exposing, and people are going to see me, and they're going to see the inner me. And, but then sitting with the object for a while, you know, every day seeing it and going, oh, jeez, it's over there. Like, oh my gosh, it's still there. I know it's there, I put it there, but it's the every day seeing this real object that represents it. It can be so liberating. It can be so liberating. And that's one of the gifts that I want to offer. One of the energy medicines that I use and I work with. And I would say, you know, can other people do it? And have their own channel and create it? And well, yeah, of course. And I guess I worried about that too, because this is very sacred to me. I'm gonna cry. This is very sacred to me because I feel it so deeply in me, how much divinity is in that work, you know, how much connection to source is in that work, that the thought of possibly other people doing it without that same depth literally hurts me. It feels a little bit like, oh, I don't want people to go out and do this and not have that same sacredness about it, because it deserves respect and love. It's a medicine. It's a medicine. It's not just a means to an end. There's a literal medicine to it. And I've had to let go of that, because I can't control people. You know, I'm going to put this stuff up on YouTube, and anybody can do what they want with it. I don't have any control once it comes out of my mouth, or I talk about it or share it. I don't have any control. The one thing that I can say is, I know that those who are drawn to listen to me, or have even listened up until this point in the video. If I resonate with you, I resonate with you. If you're like, wow, okay, this sounds simple, but yet there's something to it, then I would ask you to visit, to come back again. I feel like sometimes the wisdom is in the sharing of ideas, and then physically creating something. So I think in the next video, I'm going to show you something I physically created, and I'm going to walk through the process of it and explain it to you. Because you know what? At the end of the day, I didn't come here to, excuse the language, I didn't come here to fuck around. I came here to heal myself, to this planet. I came to heal myself and my ancestral wounds as much as I was capable of as an individual. I came here to express myself uniquely, individually, and sovereignly as my own powerful, masterful being, okay? I own my power. And I know nobody can take that from me, but I came here to share my wisdom. I did not come here to hoard my wisdom and reserve it only for those that I deemed necessary or capable of understanding it. It is here, and it is meant to be shared, and that's what I'm doing here. And if this resonates with you, then I'd love to see you in another video. Like I said, I think the next video, I'm gonna actually either bring some sacred objects with me, show them to you, or yeah, I think I will, and I'll explain the process a little bit more, because there's a lot to it. It seems simple. It's like, oh yeah, but it's not silly art. You know, people go, oh, I can't be creative. Oh, I can't. It's not like that. That's not, when I show you some of my pieces, they're so simplistic, but that's not the point. It's not the point. The point is the energy that you put into it, because what you put into it, the universe sees and works with. And then you become friends with that emotion, that energy, or whatever. And then you're able to transmute whatever's been held. And then you have a freedom. You have like this freedom. So it can give you a lot. It can give you a lot. Anyways, I wanted to say thank you for listening. I'm looking forward to doing this channel. I have no idea what it's going to morph into, because I have a billion ideas, like I told you. I have a lot of passion. I have a lot of different things that I enjoy. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to connection and yeah, just sharing whatever I know as I know it. And I'm only one person. There could be like other people that you're like, well, she doesn't resonate, and that's fine. I seriously won't be offended by that. I won't be offended by that. But those that are meant to be here will be here. And that's what I'm going to trust the universe to guide people to me. Okay. So with love and affection and appreciation, I want to say thank you for being here. And I hope to see you next time. And it'll be Sacred Art Creation, I don't know, 101. I don't know what I'll call it. But okay, well, thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.